Keep your radio dial right here. You're locked into the hottest news station on the planet. Hot 702.5 in FM sound. Blazing today's hip-hop, R&B, and pop music. Keeping your radio on fire. Bringing you the hottest, realest, riskiest talk shows live 24/7 on hot7025fm.com.
What's going on, everybody? It's your main man, 360, the poet from the Morning Wood, and I'm here to talk to you about the Sci-Fi Center. It's your Vegas home for science fiction, horror, and fantasy. From comic books, toys, and posters to movie screenings and live events, they've got you covered. Located at 900 Cameron Avenue, Suite B209, give them a call, 702-900-4335, or reach them at thescificenter.com.
Yo, it's Tavon Greatness Patterson. Want to listen to Hot 702.5 on the go? Download the Hot 702.5 app on the Apple Store or Google Play Store if you got an Android like me.
Let's get it.
It's your main man, 360, the poet from the Morning Wood. And are you looking for the perfect drink? Well, you found it. Mimosa Royale is the perfect combination of California sparkling white wine and natural juice that is both tasty and refreshing. No artificial colors or flavors, no sugar added, and it's gluten-free. As the world's first ready-to-drink mimosa, Mimosa Royale is perfect for any occasion, day or night. You no longer have to drink 12 of those seltzers just to get that perfect buzz. At 8% alcohol, Mimosa Royale is the perfect drink to party with. Offered in a variety of flavors and sizes, you are bound to find a Mimosa Royale that you'll love. We have berry, mango, apple, and orange, with more flavors to come. Mimosa Royale is the most award-winning flavored wine that serves in bottles or cans. You can find them online at drinkmimosa.com or find them at your local liquor store. Ask for it by name. Mimosa Royale. Check. 1, 2. You know what it is. You know what we are. We right here live and direct with Holla at the Homie. Right here on hot7025fm.com. And you know what we do. You know exactly how we do it and how it gets done each and every Wednesday from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. my time. So if you're in the Midwest, that's 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. your time. And if you all the way out there on the East Coast, then that's going to be 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. your time. See, I be having a few people that be having a little bit of issues going on with finding out exactly what time we rocking because they be forgetting where I live sometimes, you know, and it's all good. I get it. You know, I'm if people ask me where I'm from, I'm quick to say California, Nevada. Yep, that's exactly where I'm from, California, Nevada, because born in Illinois, raised in California, really made grown man decisions in Tennessee and set my roots right here in Nevada. So all of those places have played a big part of where I'm from and who I am and what it is that I do. Let me get my chapstick out of my pocket. And so that's why people ask me where I'm from. So that's why we have issues with people finding out exactly what time to tune in. So I always try to make sure I put it on there now, exactly the proper times when we going to be on air in your area. So as always, I like to make sure I give a shout out to all of my sponsors and those of us who have been sponsors throughout the year. That includes all of my folks out there, whether it been Classic, whether it was Shop Blinged Out, whether it's Palm Tree Designs by Anna. Like I've had a few of them, but this one here is Black Excellence. That's BLXCCLNC.com. My man James Pitts Jr., Slim with the To the Brim again, is the founder and owner of that particular company. And he blessed me with a shirt to say, you know, I am Black Excellence. And, you know, we got to make sure we shouting out Black Excellence today because one of the greats left us today. You know what I mean? Somebody who showed excellence, perseverance, and all those things associated with being great and being black. R.I.P., R.I.H., you know, whether you say paradise, heaven, rest in peace, to the late, great Tina Turner. Yes. Anna Mae Bullock, born Anna Mae Bullock, passed away today at the age of 83. She was living over in Switzerland, married, living it up over there with her multimillionaire husband, and she actually got a kidney transplant in 2017 from her husband. That's love right there. That's real love. I wonder how many of y'all out there would actually give away your kidney to somebody that you love and care about. I don't know if I'll be able to do it, dog. I don't know if I'm going to do it. If I love you that much, I don't know. I gotta check in with the check-in and how the check-in happened. But you chime in. You let me know if you would give your kidney away to a loved one. I don't know. I think I would. Depending on who it was that needed it. Depending on who it was that needed it, would I give away my kidney? That's a whole lot of ifs, ands, and buts associated with that particular organ. But her husband did give her one of his in 2017, which kept her with us for another 6 years. And we appreciate him for that, because she was a great Tina Turner, black excellence in its finest. Yeah, that's what she did. What y'all doing out there? Where you at? What you doing? Where you at? As always, I like to check in with people. I see Lucy Loden checked in with me already. Always appreciative of you checking in, as always. Let me see who done checked in over here on Facebook. Let me get back over here to my comments. See who's saying something, got something to say today. Because today we talking about how to let go of, I don't like to use the word toxic, because that's a word that, toxicity, you want to kind of completely, it just seems too much. It's too much of a negative connotation for me, for the word toxic. So, I like to talk a little bit about like how to get or move on from people who may have not been on your side the whole time. You got to think about that at times. People don't always on your team when you think that they are, because they can be out here snaking on you, like doing things that you didn't even know was possible to happen to you right there in your face, and you wouldn't even know it. So as always, we got a letter that we got going on today. This one comes in to us from a young lady. The only reason I know that because some of her words in the letter, I try to stay gender neutral. Look at that. Mia Roxy Danae checking in all the way from Portland. Appreciate you up there in the great Northwest. Hey, Sweet Pea. That's my daughter. We waiting on. Tell Keegan come on. Hey, what's up, Tonisha Bell? Oh, Inglewood's finest out there kicking it. What up, nation? But, yeah, we out here in this thing, hanging like a hubcap in the fast lane. Man, let me see. Hey, look at James. He talking about he got my message late. And he was wondering what was going on with me pumping his business. But I told him, I send voice messages. I like to send voice texts to people because, they don't always understand what you're talking about when you send out the text. Sending out the text and stuff like that. They think, if there's too many capital letters, people get upset and stuff like that. We're going to tap into a lot of that today as well. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, there and thither. So we're going to dive straight into it. Is that all right with y'all? It's all right with me. So here we are today. We got a letter from one of our listeners. It says, I didn't get a chance to print it out today. The printer was acting crazy at the crib, so we're going to read it off the computer. Glad I got my specs on, my new specs. They out there looking good. Look at them John Varvatos. Cost me some money, though. But anyway, nevertheless, I digress. It says, hey, homie, I'm in a tough spot right now, and I'm hoping you can help a sister out. That's how I knew it was a female. I have a friend that I have been rocking with from Cash Money and the Hot Boys all the way to City Girls and Hot Girl Summers. It's a long time. We've had some times together. Like, she spread that word out. Like, so in other words, they've been down like 4 flats for quite some time. If they've been going on since the Hot Boys all the way to Hot Girl Summer, that's a long time for those of y'all who don't know, who may not be in the know of what goes on out there. So let me continue the letter. She said, when we lived in the same city, we were always hanging around each other at least 4 out of 7 days per week. She got a position in another state, and a few years back, and during an adjustment period, we didn't talk she moved out of state a few years back when she got a new job, and during our adjustment period, we didn't talk as much, but we still maintained what I thought was a quote-unquote good connection. But as of late, I'm feeling quite the opposite. To keep from yapping your ear off, I'll give you the Cliff's Notes on the situation. So, in the years of living apart, we've both had success in our respective fields. We both are in thriving relationships, and on at least the surface level, all is copacetic. The thing is, when I dig into our friendship on a deeper level, I see some things in hindsight that are not evenly balanced. What I mean by that is I don't feel as if I'm getting in return what I'm giving out as a friend. At first, I thought I was tripping. I thought it was just me making up worst case scenarios in my mind. Then I had other people who were outside looking out at our friendship ask me if we were quote unquote all good. She got a lot of air quotes in this one. There's a lot of supposed words. With all good with each other. And that raised a red flag for me subconsciously. When I hinted to her about how I was feeling, she somewhat was dismissive and brushed it off like I was imagining things. So every move she makes in regards to me, every comment/compliment she sends my way, I am now dissecting to see if it's hatred associated with it. I really don't like being in this mental place. It's a confusing and uncomfortable feeling because now I feel as if I'm digging too deep into every situation, looking for something wrong with our connection, which is where I came to you, homie. I want to know, when do you decide whether to move on from old friendships and give you all, excuse me, let me rewind. She said, I want to know, when do you decide whether to move on from old friendships or give it all you've got to repair them? Sincerely, do I move on or make up? Woo. Man, listen, you know how they say somebody knocking at your door, somebody leaving, throwing rocks at your window, or somebody's in your wheelhouse, or some hens pecking around your particular yard or what have you. This one here was one that, this is a smack across the face to me, because we all go through these situations from time to time, which is completely understandable. There are times when you have to evaluate the position of your friendships from time to time, right? So with that being said, I always like to be able to dissect things in a different way. My whole get down when it comes to friends and loyalties and things of that nature are somewhat, some may say they're a little bit old school or cavemanish, or it's just, I believe, like, loyalty is loyalty, and friendship is friendship, familyship is familyship, and stuff like that, I believe, first of all, thank you, Miss Do I Move On or Make Up? I appreciate you for falling through and leaving this message and leaving me this letter to bring me on board with what you got going on. So I appreciate that from you, Miss Do I Move On or Make Up? One of the things I like to tell people, I like to express to not only my friends and family, but to others, is you got to meet people where they are. I like to meet people exactly where they are, because when I'm able to do that, there's no question whether or not somebody's off balance, per se, like somebody's askew from what's going on in your world, right? So what I look at that is, what I mean by that is you can't overcompensate for someone's insufriendship. Yep, I did. I made up a new word. I did. Insufriendship. INSUF. FRIENDSHIP. Insufriendship. That means someone's insufficient friendship. And what I mean by that is, like, you should never feel like you're giving more than what you're getting back from someone. And a lot of people put their own feelings on the back burner from time to time because they feel like, well, maybe this is just how they are. And, they've been this way for so long and I've dealt with it for so long, so it's on me. Yeah, you can say that if you want to. You can say it's on you. You can say, yeah, it's on me. That's on me, baby. That's on me, baby. But how much of that are you willing to keep on you? You have to be able to, if you're feeling like a pimp, go and dust your shoulders off. Somebody says, what's that? Click Shell says, but are they friends or friends? And that's the thing. That's what the letter writer says. She says, I have a friend that I have been rocking with since Cash Money and the Hot Boys to Hot Girl Summers and, City Girls. So, when you have to put air quotes around your friendships, then that's already a red flag. You got, people on these big red. It's ironic I wore red today. I'm a walking red flag, I guess, for everybody. I'm just playing. Don't. I'm not a walking red flag to y'all. I'm actually cool. I'm a green light. But if your friends are in air quotes, then you really have to reevaluate and ask yourself, like, what exactly is the level of friendship we have? Is it we homies? We friends? Because, you know, I did a whole poem about friends, and friends is finding the right individual's energy that never depreciates your sensibility. That's my acronym for friends. FRIENDS, finding the right individual's energy that never depreciates your sensibility. Meaning people that never take you out of your own character, people that never would never put you in a position to feel as if there's a threat coming your way. Your friends never put you in threatening positions. And Miss Do I Move On or Make Up, it appears as if you feel like your emotions and your feelings are being threatened. Oh, thank you, ClickShell. I feel like, you know, that you feel as if your friendship or your feelings are being threatened in some way. And that's understandable if you actually taken the time to evaluate it. Because there are a lot of people that never even sit back and take the time to dissect things that are feeling improper in their world, if that makes sense. You know, people that may or may not have the capability to give you the type of friendship that you're able to give them. If that's where you are, if that's where they are with it, I get it. If that's where they are with it, I completely get it. But you have to decide in yourself whether or not that's the level in which you want to, I don't ever want to say bring yourself down to, I just want to say if that's the level where you want to meet them at. Because if you're meeting them at that level, that means you now yourself are, in a way, delivering that same energy. You know? And if you're delivering that energy, then are you any different than your quote unquote friend? That's a question you can ask yourself. You know, what about you is saying, hey, I want to be like you as a friend. So I'm going to let you treat me like shit. And I'm going to start treating other people around me like shit because that's what friends do. What's the question? It said, has the writer expressed the feeling to the friend? Yeah, it says in the letter, you know, when she expressed it to her, she was dismissive. It says they may not even realize they're messing up if it's not brought to their attention. And you know what? Click shell. That's one thing about it. I always express communication. Communicate. Whether it's an issue, whether it's a big up, always communicate. And communication is a two-way street. In order to communicate, if you're doing some talking, you also have to shut up and listen. You have to listen to absorb, not listen to respond. That's my biggest thing. I always say you have to listen to absorb and not listen to respond whenever you're in a communicative exchange. You know, you have to be able to hear what they're saying too, because they may not know that friendship is, you know, in jeopardy. You know, they may not even know that what they're doing is making you feel away. And in order for them to understand that, you have to express that. And now you did say here in your letter, let me kick back to that. You did say here in your letter that when you mentioned it. It says you mentioned it. So now what does that mention mean? No, it says, you know, you thought you were tripping and you just making up worst case scenarios in your mind, and then other people. Now that's let me rewind. Hit 5 each net. Now you got to understand, when there's other people involved, you got to take what they say with a grain of salt too. You have to, because if you don't, you never know if they want that friendship, if they want that position in your life. You know, even though it shouldn't be that way, people fight for positions in line with you if you're somebody of substance. If you have any substance, and it seems as if you do, because your letter was plentiful, Miss Do I Move On or Make Up, it seems as if you have some substance, because you've actually invested some time to break down the friendship that you two have, because you were honest. You said when y'all were living in the same city, everything was cool. It was kosher. Y'all were in each other's face every, 4 out of 7 days. That's a big percentage, you know? What does Tory Lane say? It says you have to teach people how to treat you. If you allow disrespect, you are teaching that behavior is okay. Exactly. That's the thing I'm expressing. Like and then in essence, you in turn are being disrespectful if you receive that disrespect, because you're disrespecting yourself. And if you can disrespect you. I got a tattoo on my back that says trust no one but God. Right? And I mean that I don't trust anybody 100%. Nobody in my world do I trust 100%, because I feel if I can do myself some injustice, some wrong, then what stops the next person from doing me that way? And I love myself the most, I love me more than anybody else love me. I do. I don't care what you say. So you have to teach people how to treat you. And if through this communication, this two-way street, this two-way street of communication, then you have, in this, it's a teaching and a learning lesson. You have to speak, but you have to listen, and absorb what it is that you're getting out of this, what it is that they're getting out of this, what it is that they want out of this. What do you want out of this? That's a big question too. What do you want out of this? Because I don't think you really expressed that to me, because it just says that you're in a confusing and uncomfortable feeling. And now it feels as if you're digging too deep into every situation, looking, and you put that in big letters, looking for something wrong with your connection. And that all may be true, because you've allowed this to fester. You've allowed it to fester, so now you thinking, you second guessing yourself. And that's, all of us do it. All of us do it. Flight Rankin said, money and communication rule the nation. I am Tory Lane said, that's the one. Yep, always. Let me see. And she says, if it's dismissed, then you're straight up don't care. Unfortunately, it looks like you need to move on. And that's one way of advice. Me, I'm always, I always give my disclaimers, which are: one, I've never been clinically trained to be anybody's therapist and or counselor. I've never been schooled on any of this. I just live vicariously through others and through my own experiences. Another thing I always make sure I put as a disclaimer is I'm always going to give the objective views. So even though I'm going to give the devil's advocate, I'm going to be the angel's advocate as well. Meaning I'm going to talk about both sides of the situation. And right now, do I move on or make up? That is one way you can look at it, is you want to know, do you make up or do you move on? So moving on is an option, right? So, and like Click Shell said on here, she said if they dismiss you, then they're straight up don't care. And unfortunately you need to move on. And that may be the way you take it after this conversation, Miss, do I move on or make up? And that's the thing. You really wanted to know this. So on the move on side of things, it appears as if things are askew and off balance between the two of you. I appreciate you, Sherry. Appreciate you on the 5-year anniversary. Yep, 5 years, half a decade, married, half a decade. But these conversations come up between my wife and I. Like, do you move on? Do we, move on from situations that may have occurred? So this is a question you ask yourself in a lot of different facets of life. But when it's dealing with family or when it's dealing with friends, like, what do you do then? When it's outsiders, it's a little easier to move on, right? It's a little easier to kind of kick rocks per se. But when it's somebody that you're attached to, somebody that's got a hold on a part of you, mainly your heart, then it's a little bit harder to disassociate with that individual or group of people, because the fact that you care so much, because the fact that they have invested in you as much as you have invested in them in some per se, as far as time wise, y'all have invested in each other the same amount, and that means, you're right, Tori. People do know what they be doing. Family or friends, you have to choose your peace every time. That's what you got to look at. Do I move on or make up? Which one is going to bring you more peace? Moving on or making up? Which one's going to say, like, okay, this is what brings my mind ease. This is what brings my body comfort, where I don't wake up aching. Stress causes things on your body that's going to have you doing different, have you aging more. Stress is going to have you, things aching even more. When I was stressed, I wake up in the morning, it sounded like the 4th of July. Danica Carpenter, thanks for checking in. Had that new baby. Bologna. She said she move on these days. And that's the consensus for most of the people out here in the streets. The streets is talking. The streets are talking, Miss Do I Move On or Make Up? The streets are talking, but I'm also going to speak on the aspect of making up. Now, what would making up with this person do? Would it bring you back that comfort that you were once missing? Will it bring you back anything that's going to say, hey, you know, let me add this little sugar back into my Kool-Aid to make sure the flavor of my life is correct? Is making up going to bring you that? Because apparently there is enough in your heart and mind to at least consider it. If you're at least considering making up, if you're at least considering the idea of allowing this to pass, like giving somebody a pass, then that says a lot about you and your character, because you express the fact that you're hurt. You've let us know you are hurt. And that's not cool. It's not cool to be hurt by anybody or anything. It's not a good feeling. It's not where we want to be. You know, it's the sunken place. Pain is the sunken place. You know? What do you do with that pain? How do you digest it? And is making up the regurgitation that you look is going to make you sick to make up? What about that? I'm going to tell you, you know what? Think about it like this. If you are considering the makeup, right? I want you, before you do, this is how sometimes, like, it took me a while to really realize how to kind of look into how people look at me and how people want to treat me, you know, in regards to being their friend or the type of friend that I am. And some people will manipulate your friendship because they suffer from insufficient friendship. They suffer from not knowing how to be enough friend. And they may suffer from not knowing or not even giving a damn enough to be a good friend. So sometimes you got to look at people's, I gave blood today. Y'all got to look at people's background. You got to do a background check. You know, you got to do a background check on not just, job opportunity. You don't just vet a job. You got to vet your friends too. Because like I said, to me, friends means finding the right individual's energy that never depreciates your sensibility. Friends to me. That's what friends mean. So what about that? You got to find them. So in other words, to find them, you got to do some searching. You got to do some research. That's why they call it research. You don't just look once. You research again. Like back, I used to look for apartments and stuff, living in Southern Cal. I mean, shit, pretty much anywhere where I've lived. When I was living in apartments, I would always look at the place, a prospective crib in the daytime. And then I come back by that same spot in the dark time, in the bewitching hours. Because like I say, nobody knows where the nose goes when the doors close. So when it's dark outside, people move different. When it's daylight, people move different. They're too visible. It's too much visibility at times when it's daylight. So look at them in a different situation. Look at them under a different light. And what I mean, where I'm going with this is, one thing I've learned to do as of late is what I'll do is I'll go back and look through pictures, of my most joyous times and occasions, or whether it's joy for anybody, not just myself, whether it's an occasion where somebody's supposed to be happy for the people in the picture, right? Where some people in the picture are happy. But if you look around, look for the friends that are in question, right? And see what their facial expressions are in the pictures in the background or in the videos in the background. This goes to like the Ja Morant thing, right? Because look at the ones who accidentally put you on blast, who dry snitch on you. Look at those and evaluate from then as well, because that's people, you're looking at people in a different light at that moment. You know, it's like when you taking pictures and, you know, in the world of filters. Bring it back to me. Bring it back to me, universe. In the world of filters, it's always easy to decide what light you want to put on it. So are you filtering your friendships? That's a question. You know, are you allowing yourself to block out all the things that you know don't make you feel good because you put a filter on it? Danica Carpenter says it depends on what they did and the guarantee if it's not happening again. And she said filters hide the flaw. Exactly, filters hide the flaws. Everybody, are you airbrushing your friendships from your view? Because again, I'm going to bounce back to where it said other people on the outside looking in at our friendship ask me, are we all good with each other? Like, these are the words you put in quotes. Are we all good with each other? This is what they asked you, Miss Do I Move On or Make Up? So these are real things. Because I always say, you only get a 180-degree view of yourself, right? But other people get a whole 360-degree view of you. If you this microphone and you looking out, all you see is the computer and the screen in front of you. Or you can look behind you, but even then you only getting 180-degree view of yourself. But the other people can see you in your totality. If I'm looking at you as this microphone, then I get a chance to see all of you. So you can't. Yes, I do want you to kind of decipher and kind of weed out what part of it is hate, you know, in their part. Because again, you got to do your research on them as well. You can't just listen to everybody. But if they're valid people, if you put them in your letter to say that other people on the outside looking in, they must hold some weight with you. You know? So if they hold that weight with you, then you've vetted them enough to where you believe in some of the things they say. So they're getting a 360-degree view of your friendship with this person. Us as the listeners of the letter and me as the reader of the letter, I'm getting 180-degree view, which is yours, but I get a taste of their view because you threw in a little piece of them. You threw in just a little bit of, sprinkle a little bit of their dust in there, right? To say like, you know, at least some other people are looking at this kind of strange as well. Click Shell says, if you do forgive and move on, can you fully forgive? And are you always going to be waiting for the other shoe to drop? That's too stressful. See, another thing, I hate stress. I don't fool with stress. Nah, dog. I don't do stress. What's the old saying? I'm too blessed to be stressed. You know what I mean? I don't do stress, yo. I just don't do it. I try not to. Well, put it like this. Rewind. Hit 5 fish net. I try not to do stress. I don't even smoke stress weed no more. So that's how much I stay away from stress. You know? It's when you really get a mirror image, or when you really get a chance to get an outsider's view that you respect of your friendships or your relationships with family as well, because this is something that can happen with family too. This is definitely something that can happen with family as well. You know, sometimes things don't always go as planned in our world and in our blueprint of friendships and relationships and family ships. Everything doesn't go as planned. If it did, then, you know, it would kind of be boring. Life would kind of be boring. I'm not going to lie. I kind of like a few of the curveballs. You know, I don't want everything to be straight over the plate. I want a few curveballs. Let me adjust. Let me know that I know what I'm doing with the curves that life brings me. Let me know that I can travel this road. You know, it won't be flawlessly. You got to understand that. You know, because if you are going to really break down, if you're really breaking down and dissecting and really saying that you're going to be done with this person, Miss Do I Move On or Make Up? Or if you're holding their feet to the fire and holding them accountable for being the type of friend that you need, you have two options as well. If you're going to be that, you yourself have to be that type of friend that you're asking for. Yeah, it's easy to sprinkle somebody with the holy water, but you know, will it burn your skin if you got to wash up with it? You know, but also, that's one thing. You have to yourself be able to be and fulfill those things you're asking them to do. But then you also, too, have to be willing to be the type of friend that they need. It's called compromise and balance. What do you do when the situation that you're underneath, that you're facing with your friend relationships, what do you do when you're not holding your weight? What does that look like? It's a lot of us, I always say, when you point the finger, this is me being angel's advocate and devil's advocate. When you point the finger at somebody, 3 fingers, me, myself, and I are pointing right back at you to let you know about your part in this situation. When you point the finger, 3 fingers point right back at you. And so now you have to, there's a few things you got to do with that. You got to say, if it's me, what about me does it? If it's myself, what about myself has got me in this? If it's I, what about I has got me to this? You may be like, what are you talking about, Will? What are you talking about, 360? Well, the me portion of those are the things that you say like, that's on me. This is me. This is who I am. I am me. I'm just being me. What about that got you into that situation? Now, the myself, these are things like, you isolate your, away from everybody else while you do. What about your isolation by being by myself? What about that has got me in this situation? And then the I, what about what boastfulness? What about me? I. When people say I all the time, I say lie. When everything is I, as part of it's lie. Or I say why, even if it's the truth. But why? Why are you going to keep saying the same thing over and over again? You know what I mean? About you. So what about the I has got you in that situation? When you're pointing the finger, Miss, do I move on or make up? So there, that's angel's advocate and devil's advocate to it both. You have to be willing to be that type of person for that other person. You have to be willing to put on the pants in which you're asking them to wear. And you got to look back in the letter. Like, again, it says you made a point to say when you two lived in the same city, everything was good. Y'all were together 4 out of 7 days. Click Shell says distance in any relationship is never easy. People drift apart, and that's okay. You can't force relationships / friendships. You're right, and you don't want to force them. And the thing about the best friendships, the best relationships are the ones that you're able to, be apart from one another. When you're able to be apart from each other and still rock out like that. Those are the best friendships, the best relationships. Like I don't really like long distance go together relationships, stuff like that. But long distance friendships, oh man, that gives me something to, long distance family relationships. That makes me anticipate the moment we get together. But then you got to make sure that you don't get so caught up in that you expect everything to be everything that you thought it was going to be. Just anticipate it. You don't want to prematurely come off the wrong way, if that makes sense. Like, so anticipate you're getting together, but don't expect anything out of your getting together, but the fact that y'all are getting together. If that makes sense. My thing is like this, back to the best type of friendships. Like the best type of friendships, again, are the ones that you can be apart from each other and still be good. How does that look? What does that look like? Because some of my partners, I got, we get together from time to time, and when we do, it's like, man, it's like you recall all your hardy hard-hards and the days you used to party hard and share the same cars. Them your real day ones. What about that? What about that what does that look like to be able to have that type of friend relationship? If you do make up. And if you move on, then what about it? What about it? Another part of your letter, it says, like, since y'all been apart, y'all both have been had success in your respective fields. You're both in thriving relationships. And on at least the surface level, everything is copacetic. Those are pluses. That sounds like the start of a Tyler Perry movie, or a Ava DuVernay movie or something. Like, friends that's doing well, relationships is beautiful, and everything on the surface look good. Life is a movie. It is. It's a dream. It's a movie. It's whatever you. Life is but a dream. Donovan talking about day one in the building. I don't look forward to seeing Will. Man, it's like the first day of school when you about to see me. You can't even, you done picked out your outfit. Like, oh, okay, I'm gonna kill Weezy with this one. Boy, I know you. It's like the first day of school when you about to see me. But that's good though. Like, I'll be anticipating seeing y'all too.
I think it's funny.
Oh, shut. You hear Siri? She always chiming in. I laughed and she told me, I'm glad you think it's funny. It is funny. Get out of my business. But you ain't my friend. But like when you have those type of friendships where you can be apart, and when you come back together, it's beautiful, especially when you in respective fields doing well, relationships are thriving. The surface always looks good, but what's under the hood? You got to kick the tires from time to time. You have to. Appreciate you, Eric. Yeah, easy out there. He said, yo, broski, was definitely listening. Yeah, I'm glad. Once again, I appreciate all of y'all that take the time to chime in, that take the time to even listen. I'll be on here for, 55 minutes talking. So for y'all to chime in and call in, the people that have called in, or the people that are able to type in a couple things, I'm very appreciative. All the ones that's listening and checking the show out, big up. I tip my hat to your brothers and sisters. Big up to all ya. Because I'm getting more and more responses in forms of letters that people really, really want to say it with their chest. Get it off their chest. Click Shell says, maybe y'all can be good acquaintances and leave it at that. Man, listen. You don't always have to stay best of friends if y'all don't rock like that. You don't have to be all, when I say move on from people, moving on doesn't necessarily mean like you don't fuck with them no more, but you don't fuck with them like that, excuse my expression. Like, if you don't rock with people like that anymore, then that just means that y'all just don't, things in like, exactly, friends, family, and life change. True friendships allow you to maneuver through the peaks and valleys. Exactly. The peaks and valleys. In order to move through those, sometimes you at a peak. Everything is beautiful. Y'all at the top, at the precipice of your friend relationship, your family relationship. You're at the top. But then there's times you hit a valley. Now, so what do? Do you change? Do you change your direction and where you traveling? Do you stay in that valley with that particular person? You may. But you as an individual are just, you can't allow yourself to get stuck in that valley, in that rut, in that position. I appreciate you, Sterling Arkansas. He said, we're just watching a star being born. Ha ha, ba, 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 ba. Appreciate you. But you can't just get stuck in that valley. But if you don't, like, just say, for instance, you got a group of friends, right? And two of y'all fall out. But everybody else, like, you still cool with your friends. They still cool with your friends. Y'all just not cool. That don't mean that the friendship got to dissipate, because that means now you being disrespectful to the overall friendship. If you expect your friends that still rock with that person, like that, because apparently, like, if y'all all were in a grouping, then y'all all rocked in a similar nature, right? So just you being rude and disrespectful to that grouping, that friendship, if you allow that, friendship to kind of break up the band per se. Look at Bobby Brown. Look at New Edition and Bobby Brown. That's the perfect example right there. Bobby left the group, but he still rock with them cats. He just wasn't rocking with Ralph at the moment. But they rock together again now. He wasn't rocking with Johnny when he came in because he was a newbie to the group. But they all rocking together now, doing dance moves now. If the foundation is friendship, then you good. Y'all gonna be okay. Like she said, y'all can be good acquaintances. Click Shell hit the nail on the head. She said maybe y'all can just be good acquaintances and leave it at that, Miss Do I Move On or Make Up? Because, it says here in your letter when you expressed it to your, quote unquote friend, they were dismissive as if you were, imagining things. So again, maybe, I don't know how much y'all communicated with one another. A mention don't always mean you communicated it. What up, Arthur Lee? A mention don't always mean that you communicated. Like, for instance, I just mentioned Arthur Lee, but I ain't talked to him in years, but I still rock with him. You see what I'm saying? Like, see how the universe just brings these things in? This freestyle. This is all live freestyle. None of this is scripted. I ain't writing nothing down. I got his notes on when to, an outline for to get through my show, but I don't even write nothing down for most of this. I do sometimes. Don't get me wrong. I'm not like that. I make sure I respect y'all as listeners, that I got something to say and it'll follow in a structure. But you got to think about that. As friends, as a group, just because two of y'all in the group ain't rocking together don't mean that the harmony is gone. Y'all got to remember that. You got to remember that. If you're an adult, it's going to be some things that you don't appreciate out of people. There's going to be some things that people don't appreciate out of you. Like that's where I got to make sure I stay balanced. I'm not a Libra, ain't no Libra in my chart at all. I don't think somebody checked my co-star, but that's one of the things where I feel we got to stay balanced on. Like when you expect something, you got to give. The old sayings, you give what you get. I'm big on saying karma is like a boomerang. You get back what you throw out. A lot of times in ways that you don't even know about. Donovan said it's over in girl groups. They so emotional. No, it ain't, because I still see Beyonce singing with Kelly and Michelle no singing ass. So, the girl groups, they still rock together sometimes a little bit. Look at Escape. They fighting. They sisters. Tasha gonna be back rocking with everybody. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. They part like the Red Sea. This is true, but you got to think of it like that. Do you move on or do you make up? You have to figure out what side of the coin is more beneficial, not just to you, Miss Do I Move On or Make Up, but what's most beneficial to the overall structure of the friend relationship. Would making up be better for the friend relationship, or would moving on be better for the friend relationship? Because again, sometimes it's harder when it's family members. And when you rocking with somebody for so long, y'all like family. My brother C said he big for saying, shoot a stick or kill a brick. He say something for the people that he rock with. Basically, like, I'll run through a brick wall for y'all. And for my dogs, man, listen, I may be French bulldog size, but I got bull mastiff in me. I'm pit bull size, but I'm bull mastiff at heart for mine. And if you rock like that, Miss Do I Move On or Make Up, you got to understand, like, are you willing to, if that's how y'all rock, are you willing to say, I'm good on all that? I'm good on all that. Because I got a piece I wrote earlier in this year, and it started off like, I lost two of my best friends and they still alive. Cats I've been down with for over 25. But when I use hindsight and look through clearer eyes, I realized that the loyalty flowed from one side, and that was mine. And no, I'm not okay, but I promise I'll be fine. I just realized I went with my nose open and not my eyes. So in essence, I was blind. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how we go into things. I just want to give you an excerpt of that, but am I even the ones who I mentioned, the ones who I'm making reference to in that particular poem, am I through rocking with them forever? At this moment, I don't know. But the fact that I'm able to say, like, it's a possibility that I may make up or move on. That's human. That's human. And there's nothing wrong. Like, a lot of times, we complain about all this AI stuff that's coming, this artificial intelligence, but a lot of times we disrespect our own intelligence. We stop being human, or we stop being okay with being human, because in humanity there are flaws. This social media, like I always talk about it, but I'm on it right now. This social media is a double-edged sword. It can destroy, but it can build like a mug, right? It connects us right now, right? But it can destroy us because it makes us think that everything needs a filter. It makes us think that everything needs to be airbrushed in order for it to be visible to everybody else whom we want to see us. But the people who we want to see us the most, the people who do see us the most, we don't give them the credit for seeing us like that. Because we don't allow them to tell us about ourselves. Or we don't allow them to be themselves, and we accept that whilst being who we are. A lot of times people want other people to be somebody they want them to be, and when they're not, then there's like, that ain't cool. But you're not allowing them to be them. So if they're pretending, if they're pre-friending, then who are you really dealing with? That's where you get insufficient friendship from. That's where you get insufficient friendship from. When you're trying to make somebody be who you want them to be and not allowing them to be themselves, but then not being who you are for them, that you know what I mean? Like, you got to give that same energy. Give that energy. People like, give me that same energy. I want that same energy. Give it to me, baby. And as we about to bring the show to a close. These minutes be flying by. These 50 some odd minutes be flying by. And as I bring the show to a close, again, Miss Do I Move On and Makeup, I want to thank you. Thank you for two things. One, for writing in. And two, for allowing all of us to take a glimpse into our own friend relationships. And are we suffering from insufferentship? That's the word for the day, y'all. Insufferentship. Make sure you don't suffer from insufficient friendship. That's INSUF. You can put a hyphen in if you want to. FRIENDSHIP. So until next time, make sure y'all sending y'all letters to hollaatthehomie@gmail.com. That's HOLLAATTAJHOMIE or Hot 7025 FM. For all my people here, E. Carice and all the gang down here at Hot 7025, we appreciate y'all for hollering at the homie. And until next time, in a minute.